A growing number of EU leaders are considering rejecting any request for a Brexit extension, according to her Brussels insiders, who also revealed Michel Barnier's fury at Boris Johnson's recent remarks. There is a growing opinion among EU leaders that Brussels should reject any request from the UK for an extension to Brexit. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has controversially been bound by a rebel backbench law mandating an extension to Brexit until at least the 31st of January if no deal is agreed by mid-October. However, Mr. Johnson has insisted as recently as this morning that he will never ask Brussels to postpone Britain's departure date. At the same time, more and more EU leaders are considering coming out against offering the UK an extension. A leading Brussels insider told the BBC that many leaders of EU member states were sick of Brexit and wanted to reject extending the process that has already dragged on for 3.5 years. Jennifer Baker, from EU Affairs, told BBC Breakfast, any sort of agreement in Luxembourg would be a breakthrough because the sides really do appear to be very far apart. There has been a huge erosion of trust. When you think back, the backstop was only meant to be an insurance policy, she continued. But now it's become a massive political football. It has become the debate. The EU will not move on its red lines. There seems to be assumptions in London that the EU always makes a deal in the last minute. But that only happens when it's in the EU's interest, and there's an awful lot of Brexit fatigue. A lot of the leaders of the various EU capitals starting to feel like, no more extensions. We are sick of is, out is out. Baker also told BBC's Dan Walker that Michel Barnier was furious at Boris Johnson's recent comparison of Brexit to the Hulk, the cartoon superhero. In an interview, the Prime Minister said Hulk always escaped, no matter how tightly bound in he seemed to be. According to Baker, the chief Brexit negotiator for the EU was not happy with the wording. The comparison also irritated Guy Verhofstadt, the chief Brexit representative for the European Parliament, who tweeted that it was infantile. The unusual remarks were made ahead of Mr. Johnson's meeting with European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker today. Alongside the Hulk comparison, Downing Street also insisted that the UK must reject any new Brexit deadline. Mr. Juncker is expected to ask Johnson to explain his ideas for replacing the Irish backstop. Recently, Mr. Johnson has claimed a huge amount of progress was being made, a view that has since been dismissed in Brussels.